I'm a corporate recruiter, the headless headhunter, and I'm here to help you get ahead of your job search by reviewing your resume. The resume we have up first is an AI ML intern that has a terrible ratio of applications and cold applying to jobs. It takes them, I think, over 150 applications to get a single interview, and that is very, very bad. Obviously, that's bad, but that's like a failing grade. So we want to move that number much down. We want to make it so that you're taking about maybe 1 in 50 at worst applications to get an interview. And in fact, it could be more than 150. They actually may not have gotten anything. So they are applying for summer internships, and they thought by quantifying the effects and explaining how that would work, they even use job analytics, whatever that is, to match keywords for every individual resume, which is part of your problem. The longer you take to hit submit, the worse your chances. You don't want to remake your resume for every job. If you do that, you lower your chances, you don't increase them. ATSs, people assume ATSs work as some magical scanning keyword technology, and the truth is 99% of them don't. Like, yeah, AI exists, but it's much rarer than you'd think. The most common way ATSs sort is first come, first serve. So the faster you apply, the better your chances. That is why I try to tell you to tailor your resume to the job title you want, which in this case would be ML intern, over doing it to the actual job itself. So I did a meter yeet of this, and this was a absolute yeet. It did not work at all, and part of the reason is all that stuff you added. It's way too dense for what we're trying to be looking for. So for ML interns, what we're going to be looking for is machine learning, obviously Python, C, C++, SQL, PyTorch, TensorFlow, Cloud, LLM, AI, generative AI, ChatGPT, basically, NLP, any type of AI thing. And that you can take direction and criticism along with work well with others. So this is a master, so they're going to want a little bit more than that, but this is the closest you're going to basically get without messing everything up. So these are the things we're going to be looking for. These are the minimum qualifications. So, and the problem was the formatting. This should not be bolded. Nothing here should be bolded. There should not be lines here. There should not be lines here. And I was only able to get down to here before I ran out of time. So part of the problem with this, like I said, was it's way too dense. And you added too many of these random metrics. Like, when I say I don't care, I don't mean that it's not impressive. I mean, it's not relevant to the job that I'm trying to do. So take that in mind. When I say I don't care, I'm not saying it's not impressive. I'm saying it's not relevant to hiring an ML intern. It doesn't matter that you reduced manual provisioning time by 90%. I don't care about that. It doesn't matter that you achieved 100% uptime and data integrity for PostSQL by engineering a Patroni-based database failover architecture. That means absolutely nothing. The only thing I actually care about is PostSQL. Or PostgreSQL, whatever it's pronounced. So there are so many little percentages in here that it's ruining it. And I don't want to say that you can't use a percentage. It's okay to use a percentage, but you need to use them very sparingly. I don't think, unless you're going for a director level, you should have more than 1% in this entire position. You really only need about 2 to 3 in your entire resume, and that's at max. So the reason is I'm not caring about ensured security compliance for hardening 8 hosts from cyber attacks. I just want to know, did you use Python and SQL to create a thing in LLM or, in AI with PyTorch and Cloud? You have over-engineered this to the extreme. Reduced mean time to detection for critical issues by 60% by deploying a real-time log enrichment pipeline. That means nothing to me. That means absolutely nothing. That's not what I'm looking for. Maybe if I was looking for cybersecurity, that would be impressive. But we're not looking for cybersecurity. We're looking for a ML intern. And that's the entire thing. The only things I could find were LLM and SQL. Again, I know it's not SQL, it's PostgreSQL, but as long as you have a SQL, they're usually okay. They want usually any of the SQLs. So, but yeah, that's it. That's all I could find. Is LLM and SQL. And nothing else. I did not see anything else I needed from the AI. And maybe you had it all the way down here, but I did not get that far. And remember, if it's in a skills section, it doesn't count. You cannot have a skills section. They do not count. You need to have them under a job, an internship, or project, and you need to tell me the reason and result, and how you used it and the reason and result of that. So there's nothing here. This is why you're getting rejected. Is A, you are customizing this for every single job, which is putting you lower in the queue, and B, the base form of this resume has absolutely nothing I need, because you need about 75% of these to move forward. I found 2 of them, which I'm not a math person, but that ain't 75%. So I need more, right? Like, where's the actual AI? I barely see any besides the LLM all the way down here and here. Like, you overcomplicate it. Remember, you need to write this for your cousin or uncle or father or grandmother or 12-year-old niece. They need to be able to understand this. We are not going to be able to understand this in the 20 seconds we have to parse it. So this is way too over-engineered and has almost nothing we need, which is why you are having absolutely no success in getting an internship. So, and before I go to the next resume, if anybody needs more help, they can join me on my Twitch chat every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST. Sometimes I go longer at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. So yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST. And then please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out. Hit the bell. Leave a comment, even if it, whatever. And let's go to the next resume. This is a customer success manager, and they said their application to interview ratio is abysmal. So they're not sure if this is due to the job market or if there's anything wrong with my resume. And the answer to that is probably both. The job market at the time of this is horrible. It's absolutely bad, but there are things you can do to increase your chances. The way I like to think about job searching is playing a roulette wheel, you know, the little spinny one where you have to guess which one it's going to land on. And you can never 100% guarantee that you are going to land on the number that will get you a job, but you can, with better tactics like, you know, fixing your resume, applying early, making sure the qualifications are easy to read, increase the number of little slots that you will win on in that when you spin that wheel. So the answer is both. Your resume is not good, and the job market is bad. So there are things you can do to improve it, which is what I'm here to help you with. But, you know, you can never get 100% chance, unfortunately. So what we're going to be looking for in a customer success manager resume is proven success in meeting goals, revenue book and retention, engagement, customer satisfaction, communicating to all and explaining technical stuff to stakeholders. Basically, you are the man or woman that is in between the customers and the company, and you need to be communicating with them on no matter how big or small they are in both their job title and bank account to the company. They want to know that you've solved problems and multitasked, and then used CRM and CS tools like HubSpot, cross-sell, upsell, industry, SaaS. See, I can't tell if SaaS in this case is particularly for an industry or if it's just something all of them want to see, since software as a service companies are pretty common. So it might not necessarily need SaaS because that might be in the industry, and that you've worked globally. So this is immediately a nightmare. Experienced and customer-focused customer success manager with strong analytical blah, 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 does not matter, can be deleted. So there is a reason this does not have a skills section. There is a reason this does not have a summary. This is useless. All right. This does not mean anything. Cool. You're experienced and customer-focused. That's not where you show me that. So this does not matter. The only times you want this is if you're changing industries, if you are explaining a visa, or you're relocating. Those are the 3 reasons you would want that, a summary. Otherwise, you do not need it. Same thing with skill sections. They are worthless. Cool, you listed all of these out, but you know what doesn't matter? Any of these, because you did not show me how you did it and the reason or result of using that as well. So this entire thing can be deleted, and you should, you should put your education up at the top. So basically replace your summary with your education. It should look like this. If you graduated less than 2 years ago, put the date you graduated. If you graduated more than 2 years ago, just put status graduated, so we know. Now, on to the actual bullet points. And the rest of this formatting isn't great, but it's not the worst. So, again, I want you to use this. The work history should be bolded. This should be italicized. Nothing else bolded. But it's not the worst formatting. It's primarily, I'm going to say, content. So, managed. Everything should be past tense, even if you still work here. A portfolio of A+ enterprise customers in one industry. Conducting weekly check-ins to ensure alignment with business goals and drive 100% customer satisfaction. So I want this to be clear where I say where I succeeded at driving customer satisfaction, but a bigger issue is I don't know your industry. It's possible you did not say it because you do not want to get doxxed. That is okay. I understand that. But for the actual one that you submit to people, I need to know the industry. Like enterprise, this could be anything. So enterprise customers, cool. Most likely, this is some type of SaaS, but it could all, I don't know, cars or something. Who knows? So did cross-functionally text ensuring 90% document tickets are resolved on time. So here's my problem. 90% is not a good metric. And the reason for that is my dog is trying to get my attention. What do you have on your nose? Sorry. 90% is not a good metric because there's nothing for me to compare it to. I don't know your KPIs, which are key performance indicators, which everybody who works in corporate here's a lot about. So, but I need to know if that was your goal, because you said 100% customer satisfaction. I assume that's okay, but is 90% good? Because that means 10% you didn't have, and you don't explain that. So I don't want to see 90%, 100%. I just want you to state where I met my goals in customer satisfaction, backlog tickets, and X and Y. You need to be very clear that you met your goals, because this does not show that you met your goals. What if your goals were 100%? That means you're 10% lower than that. I don't know. Act as a liaison between customers and product teams. You use customers sort emails by about 30%. I mean, that part actually is good, but you have way too many percentages already. Now, you can say which reduced our customer support emails from the training I provided them. In fact, I think this sentence should be changed to, let's say, worked with customers and product teams, where I explained technical knowledge to them, which reduced the amount of customer support tickets we received after my training. Something like that. Maybe you want to shrink it down a little bit, but that's where you can actually put like technical stuff to like stakeholders and customers. So that's where we would want that. Troubleshooting API issues. I don't care about API issues. Because again, I don't know what you do. You still didn't tell me. This one further confuses me. In fact, you could be working with like software. I'm assuming this is SaaS at something. Review and debug, but why would you be debugging? That's not really customer success. Jason, tech workload. Again, no. Recognize for being a self-starter, practically improve customer experience initial part. This one's actually good. This is how you do this. So the problem is I need to know who recognized you. Like if you said won an award for proactively identifying opportunities to improve and fixing it, that's how I want to say. But like, who recognized you? So a big issue in this is you don't tell me how you did it. You sort of tell me what you did, but you don't really tell me how you did it. You just tell me the reason and result though, which is good. So I need to know how you did these, and I need them to be more clear. Plus, what CRM stuff have you used? But this is way too technical, and it took me this long to get through just this. This is just your most recent experience. So delete this. Like I said, put your education up at the top because it does look like you graduated, and then make this comprehensible. I need you to write this like you are talking to a tech illiterate customer or stakeholder. That is how I need you to write this, because we have 20 seconds to read this. And in 20 seconds, all I'm going to see is API, UI, 90%, enterprise, and JSON. And none of those are what I'd be looking for. You need to keep it basic and simple. So the simpler and basic you can do, the better your chance. Because remember, a resume is a minimum qualification document. It is not here to brag. The more you brag, the worse your chances, with the exception of sales, but they have slightly different things. So that's all I can do for this one. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a project coordinator. It doesn't look like it, and I'm a little confused, but this is what I'd be looking for in a project coordinator. So multitask, Microsoft Office, Google Workspace, Smart Sheets, Jira, Confluence, Excel, MS Project, Outlook, proactive problem solving, client customer stakeholder relation interaction, and bonus for admin support and CAPM. The problem is this person immediately at the very top, they semi-doxed themselves, so I can't show it, said they had a PMP, and it's pretty rare for a project coordinator to need a PMP. Hi, Bear. I love you. Okay. Thank you for the kisses. So I'm wondering if you should be more of a project manager instead of a project coordinator. That might be a better choice for you, but let me read what you wrote first. So this person has over 150 applications to no interviews. They have been unemployed for about 10 months. He went to school for energy engineering, but did not complete the last class. You're supposed to put my education on your resume or not. If you did not complete it, do not put it on. They're going to assume you have your education 90% of the time if you put it on. So if you do in fact put your education on, please make sure you've completed it, or you state when you're about to complete it. So the reason it stopped, okay, now I can't work, shows listing. I'm in a weird spot, use your help. Okay, so I'm very confused about the PMP thing. Also, I realize this person did not dox themselves, so let me just triple check this. Okay, yeah, this is everything here is fake. So there we go. They did not dox themselves. So first off, you said PMP and a certified manager, but like I don't see that. So what I would put is certifications. Okay, sorry. So everything about here is so off. So instead of education, I would put certificates. And then put your PMP and that you graduated high school, because you do want to show that you at least graduated that. Then we go into the actual stuff. And the problem here is nothing here would lead me to believe that you are a project coordinator or possibly a project manager. Like, this is not what I'm looking for at all. And again, I'm still kind of confused because most project coordinators don't put PMP. That's really more for a project manager, which is sort of like the evolved form of a project coordinator. Most companies, project coordinators like lower than a project manager, so they can kind of evolve into a project manager to a degree. But yeah, there's like nothing here. So this is a bit of my problem, is like I don't see this. I see that you conducted root cause analysis and field reliability investigations, but that's not what, like, was that a part of your project? Like, how did you manage the project? Because remember, you're a project coordinator, not necessarily fixer. Collaborating on engineering with cross-functional teams. So I like cross-functional teams, but like this doesn't. Your problem is I don't think you're looking for a project coordinator based on this resume. This has absolutely everything in it. There's nothing here that I know of. So I see what you did here. Okay, I'm sorry. This formatting is also throwing me. So you want your resume to look like this. I understand you worked at multiple places. That's fine. I actually think how you did this is fine. So you would just put like Tesla, and then you would put the dates you've worked for it just like this. And then under that, there'd be another little extra one where you would put the, Tesla engineer kind of thing. But again, this is not what I'm looking for. Like, where's the Jira, the Excel, the Smart Sheets? Where did you improve stuff? See, working with vendors is fine, but I don't care that you tested it. I needed to know that you found out vendors' problems and then, like, designed a solution to it. So this reads like some kind of technician. I think you need to go back and look at the qualifications for a project manager, because I don't know, you may meet them, but this is not it. This is not what the qualifications I'd be looking for, because remember, I need 75% of these. Now, maybe you want to look for project manager instead, which is going to be this one, and this is the part that I'm a little confused, because a PMP is great for this, but I don't think a coordinator is what they're looking for. So this is what I would want to see in a project manager, but you need to go back to the drawing board, not just formatting, but just content, because I don't know if you qualify for this or not. Maybe you really do, but you're definitely not showing you meet the qualifications in this resume. That's about the best I can do, because I don't know what you do at all. Like, nothing here is what I would be looking for. So I'm not trying to be mean. I just want to, from my perspective, this does not read like a project coordinator or a project manager, and the PMP is a little confusing. So you need to describe it better here. And that's all I can do for this resume. Let's go to the next resume. This is an HR assistant resume. This person wants to switch career fields. Their background is in healthcare and benefits, but would love to try for entry-level HR roles, and they have a terrible ratio, again, over 150. I think every resume I've reviewed in this video has been over 150 applications to interviews. So first off, switching into HR is probably a bad idea. Right now, HR and recruiting are very, very down. So you're going to have a lot more competition, and you probably will stand a better chance going right back to whatever you were doing beforehand, because it's real rough in HR and talent acquisition. Those people are holding on to their jobs, and we are the canary in the coal mine. So the economy ain't good, and that's why there's not a lot of those jobs. But if you truly do want to switch, here is what we need. We need, for an HR assistant, is pretty much the same as an HR generalist. We want an HRIS platform, so this could be like Workday or the other ones whose name escapes me right now. Along with Microsoft Office, MS Excel, Word, Outlook, and PowerPoint. Those are huge. Those are absolutely what we need. The number of employees your past companies have had, ballpark, if you're off by a little bit, that's okay. We just want to know. And heavy multitasking, especially for this assistant entry level. They really want to see how you can multitask, along with knowing HR best practices and employment laws, employment relations, staffing and payroll, talent acquisition industry in the ATS if the company has one. So also Workday, again, Workday is a combination HRIS/ATS, which is where a lot of people's problems with it come, and any HR certs. So this is useless, doesn't help. Also, I need your education at the top, which I cannot do because you've completely doxed yourself. So this does not count. Nothing here matters. You need to have it to be here. If a bullet point does not, if your skills section, I am suffering from a small bacterial infection, so the medication for that is kind of kicking me right now. But let me clarify my thoughts. If your skill is in a skills section, it doesn't count. So, do you have MS Office, Google Suits? Yes. Do you have Visio and Tableau? Yes. Do you have whatever this is? Yeah, but it doesn't count. So none of this matters. This can be safely deleted, and it would not change most of your application ratio. They need to be here. If they are not under a job, under a bullet point that shows the reason and result of doing it, it doesn't count. And I will probably be saying this every episode, but you need to have them written like this. Okay, this is how it needs to be. You need to show me how you use them and the reason and result of you using it. It has to be under a job, a project, or an internship. So this doesn't count. This has nothing I need. Well, health plans and enrollment might actually contain something, but the rest of it doesn't. A compliance with seamless benefits integration. How did you provide benefits integration? This is a place where you could probably, I'm assuming you use the HRIS to do that, but optimize benefits, troubleshoot enrollments. Again, that's not mostly what I'm looking for. Benefits for customers and preference, not what I'm looking for. Not what I'm looking for. No, stay up to date. Industry changes. Again, I don't know what a benefits designer is, and I don't know how that's related. Educational positive facility training. This one might, but I'm already down to here, and I've not found anything I wanted. Where are your HRIS? Where is your Microsoft Office? I don't see any of it. Again, doesn't count if it's here. Has to be here. Where does it show that you multitask? I don't see any of that. Where does it show you've used HR best practices along with employment law? Where are you kind of got employee relations, but even then that's a little iffy. But what about staffing and payroll and talent acquisition and the industry? And, did you use an ATS, and how big were these companies? You don't tell me any of that. And because of that, it's going to get yeeted because I can't find it. If it's not on your resume, it doesn't exist. That's the rule. So there's nothing here that would lead me to believe that you, in fact, are going to be an HR assistant. Now, what you may want to do is at the very top have a very brief summary that just states transferring to HR generalist from whatever you're currently doing, so that they know. But you still need these things in the qualifications. You need them in your bullet points, because if we do not see those, we do not move forward. And that's the law, unfortunately. I mean, it's not a law, but it's how it works. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a project manager, I think. So this person is applying in Germany, and I'll be perfectly I've not recruited in Germany. I would love to. That sounds like a cool place to recruit for. So I'm a US based recruiter, so take this with a grain of salt, which I don't know if that translates, but this person has a terrible ratio, again 1 in 50, which I think is like the theme of this episode, is some of the worst ratios I've seen. And what we're going to be looking for a project manager is details about how and why you did X, how you made things happen compared to how you did things, PMP, CMS, customer, stakeholders, agile industry. And this part, which even though it's small, is huge, but the number of team members, if it was matrixed or cross-functional, and the budget that you've done, along with how many projects have you done at the same time. So basically the deep details about the numbers of your project, and that includes budget, how you used resources for success, how you solve problems and influence, and then Jira, Confluence, and MS Project. Most of them, and I looked quickly in the job boards on Germany, most of them wanted an MS Office and this stuff, so you definitely need to put it. And they had a big thing about international teams, so that's probably something you want to add for Germany. But again, I'm a US based recruiter. So the biggest issue I have with this is they fully dox themselves on the very top. They have their picture, their phone number, and their everything, so I cannot scroll past this section, or else everything will be shown. Please don't do that. So in addition, we don't need your picture. I don't think, again, I don't recruit in Germany, but I'm assuming you don't put your picture. Do not put your picture, at least in the US. It's not common. Please don't. We don't need to see it. If we truly, truly care, you can go to LinkedIn, and even then, that goes into some territories that probably is going to bring an EEOC complaint. So you don't need to put your picture up. We don't care about your picture, and we shouldn't care about your picture because we do not hire based on that. So, except for some bad actors, but that's, so coordinated 3, okay, good, offshore wind projects using Power BI, that's okay. Implemented a lifecycle, this is, and again, if nobody, I'm still fighting off an infection, so supported 2,000 lessons. What does that mean? Facilitate communication for regular presentation or sustainability. I don't care about any of that. This ISO, see, I could not find sustainability manager either, so I did not know if that was the right topic. But yeah, there's nothing here. I mean, there's flat out nothing here. So your education your resume needs to look like this. I would recommend you resubmit, but your resume needs to look like this. The too many colors, too much bolding, and your bullet points don't actually tell me anything I need. Even I think for what I saw for a sustainability project manager, they were mostly just project managers with a little bit of sustainability. So this isn't actually okay sentence. This part is okay, but you need to add to it. What do you mean for performance tracking and data-driven decisions? What kind? Whose decisions were making it? Was it stakeholders? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Implementation of lifecycle analysis. That's not really what I'm looking for. It's good that you've done it. The world needs more people like you because, yeah, but this needs to be focused on this. So your resume is kind of all over the place, and it doesn't really tell me a lot of the stuff that I need to know. So please do it here. And then you do speak other languages. So this is under this section, right? Before you get to here. So instead of US citizen, I would just put your, fluent in English and German and whatever else you have, because the fluencies is important. So it should be up there, but that's all I can do for this one, because there's just nothing here, right? Like there's nothing here. I can't find anything here to here, and this is the only thing that actually matters to my search for this role. Like, it's great, some of the stuff you've done. I think the world needs more people like you, but it's not the focus of what your resume should be. Let's go to the next resume. Resume of a front-end and developer. At least these are the US qualifications. This person is working remote, and I don't know where. So I just had to use the US qualifications. They may change based on other countries, but this person has a 100-to-1, which is not a great ratio. And what we're going to be looking for, a front-end dev in the US, is JavaScript, React, Angular, JS, HTML, CSS, PHP, SQL, Scrum, Agile, RESTful APIs, SEO, WordPress, Git, Docker, Jira, Vue, Next. And a bonus is extra language, Cloud UI, UX, SaaS, and TypeScript. This person wants to do primarily remote jobs, and that's fine. I think that's good. The problem is it's going to be extra hard to get those. They are extremely competitive, and your ratio is going to go a lot worse, unfortunately. So a 1 in 10 for on-site would probably be like a 1 in 30 to a 1 in 40 for remote roles. So make sure you apply early. The faster you apply, the better, because those fill up within the first hour. Like, people say, like, oh, in the last 24 hours. The last 24 hours doesn't mean anything. Sometimes it's in the first 30 minutes for those remote roles. They are that competitive. You have to be on top of it. So let's see what we can do to fix it to give them the best chance. So don't care about the summary. Your education should be up the top instead. I don't need to know when you graduated. I just need to know that you did graduate. So you can put this up top and say status graduated. Then experienced with headless, decoupling sounds and flavors, go to Drupal and WordPress. So WordPress is something I would be looking for, but I don't really care that much about Drupal, but it might be niche enough that they could. So Next.js is good. GraphQL. Everybody puts GraphQL. You don't need to put GraphQL. I don't know why. I know I've been over this, but like you don't need to do it. I know it's a stand-in for something else, but unless you're a product designer or an Android developer, you don't need to put GraphQL. They're not looking for it. So develop front end. Okay, so team leader to a small team of developers and designers. Successfully developed and employed dozens of SaaS websites. Let's look at the list. SaaS is good. React, yep. Next.js, don't. Yep, no, I do care about. Don't care about Material AI. Played a pivotal role website builder, leveraging. I hate the word leveraging, but whatever. Designed HTML, CSS. Okay, so your resume is actually not terrible. I don't want to say that this is a horrible resume, because I don't think it is. I think it doesn't have a lot of focus. I would say if you were applying to non-remote roles, this would probably be like a 1 in maybe 60, 1 in 50 at best. But what I would like to do to change this is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are the keys. Those are critical. Those should be up here. Remember, summary doesn't count. Need to switch that with your education. Fix your formatting to make it look like this. This is actually not the worst formatting, but you could still improve it, so change it. And this should be, I would actually keep Drupal just in case. This should say JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Your very first bullet point should have that. So Next.js is great. I don't think you need to put GraphQL. But you can maybe switch it for like some of the other stuff. And then React, Next.js is great. I don't care about Material UI. I don't care about this as much, but UI UX is good. So I am missing some stuff. This is close enough that it could go, like I said, a meter a yeet. So I would like to see SQL, which I didn't see. I would like to see, did I see WordPress? I actually don't know if I saw WordPress. Okay, yes, I did. Right there on the top. Duh. Git, I would like to see Docker, and Jira. I think I saw Jira way at the bottom. Yeah, they're probably not going to go all the way down there. but primarily I want to see JavaScript, HTML, and CSS up at the top. So it should be here along with SQL. Those are your primary things you're missing, but it's actually not the worst. I can see this, like I said, getting some interviews. So that's all I can do for this resume and this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you need more help, you can always go to my Twitch chat at twitch.tv/Headless Headhunter every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST. That's where I review this stuff to help you all get ahead of your job search.